Անցյալ ուրբաթ Ամերիկայի արևելյան շրջանի Հայաստան համահայկական հիմնադրամի մասնաճյուղը Նյու Յորքի The Park գողտրիկ ճաշասրահներից մեկում կազմակերպել էր խրախճանք դրամահավաք ի նպաստ Հայաստանի Ալավերդի շրջանի Ախթալագյուղի թունավորված օդի մաքրման համար, որն իրագործելու է ամերիկյան Pour Earth կազմակերպությունը։ Pour Earth կազմակերպությունը թունավորման հարցով համաշխարհային առաջատար կազմակերպություն է, որը հայտնի է թունավորումների վերաբերյալ իրենց կրթական եւ առողջապահական ծրագրերով։ 2012 թվականին Pour Earth-ը նախաձեռնեց Հայաստանում առաջին անկախ եւ բազմակողմանի ծրագիր, որը վերաբերում է Հայաստանում տոքսիկ թունավորման գնահատմանը եւ վերացմանը։ Տոքսիկ թունավորում ունեցող վայրերից մեկն է Ախթալան, մի վայր, որտեղ հաճախ են այցելում զբոսաշրջիկները։ Ինչու Ախթալան, որովհետև հետազոտությունները ցույց տվեցին, որ Ախթալայի հողում կապարի պարունակությունը 100 անգամ ավելի է, քան Միացյալ Նահանգների կողմից սահմանված ստանդարտը։ Դա է պատճառը, որ Ախթալան Հայաստանի եւ միգուցե ողջ աշխարհի ամենաաղտոտված տեղամասերից է։ Կապարային թունավորումը հանդիսանում է հոգեբանական խանգարումների, զարգացման խանգարումների, ոսկորների եւ մկանների աճի խնդիրների, նյարդային, երիկամային եւ լսողական բազմաթիվ հիվանդությունների պատճառ։ Այս լուրջ խնդիրները պատճառ դարձան, որ Armenia Fund USA-ը համագործակցի Pour Earth կազմակերպության հետ Հայաստանում այդ խնդիրները լուծելու նպատակով։
We are living in hopeful times. Around the world, real progress is being made against malaria, illiteracy, extreme poverty, and many other previously intractable problems. But some crises we are just beginning to understand. In the poorest countries, many families survive by recycling lead batteries. They are not aware that they are poisoning themselves, their children, and the environment in the process. Millions of independent gold miners use mercury to extract gold particles from the earth, releasing this toxin into the water, soil, and food chain. In other locations, men, women, and children scavenge e-waste dump sites to dismantle and burn components to extract valuable metals, exposing themselves to dangerous fumes and a host of toxic chemicals and substances. And for families unlucky enough to live close to abandoned industrial sites, they are exposed to deadly levels of invisible toxins every day for generations. These are big problems, affecting over 200 million people worldwide, causing disability and early death. But we have solutions, and they're surprisingly simple and affordable. Pure Earth discovers and assesses toxic waste sites around the world. We find and empower local partners and work with them to identify and measure the toxins involved. We help them assess the health risks to the local population and execute a cleanup and remediation strategy. Education programs to raise awareness, reduce toxic exposure, and stop recontamination are at the center of our work. In Dakar, Senegal, where dozens of children died from lead poisoning, we led a cleanup and helped local women launch micro-enterprises to replace their toxic work. In Indonesia, Bolivia, and Mongolia, Pure Earth is training miners in alternative methods of gold extraction with a range of mercury-free technologies. In Ghana, we are providing wire stripping units that eliminate the need to burn off plastic coating to get at the valuable copper wire. And in Haina, in the Dominican Republic, after we cleaned up communities surrounding an abandoned lead smelter, blood lead levels have fallen for thousands living in the area. The risk of permanent brain damage and death has been massively reduced for children born here. But there are far too many sites around the world, just like Haina, where children are being damaged every day from exposure to toxic pollutants. To expand our work and save more lives, we need your help. Please visit our website, pureearth.org, to learn more. Make a donation. Spread the word on social media. Cleaning up one community at a time brings us closer to our pure earth.
Հայաստանում այս ծրագիր իրագործելու համար անհրաժեշտ է $100,000։ Այս գումարը կծախսվի թունավորված հողը մաքուր հողով փոխարինելու համար, երեխաներին արյան թեստի եւ բուժելու համար, կրթական եւ կանխարգելման ծրագրեր իրագործելու համար։ Երեկոն բացման ողջունով սկսեց օրվա հանդիսավար Էլվին Քյորոգլյան Արզումանը եւ այնուհետեւ հրավիրեց Հայաստան համահայկական հիմնադրամի Արևելյան շրջանի հոգաբարձուների խորհրդի ատենապետ Լևոն Արյանին.
From personal experience, when I went to Attila back in September, it's an amazing part of Hayastan, and driving the 4-hour trek from Yerevan and only being my second time in Hayastan, it was pretty impactful going through the various villages and the various regions to see where our ancestry comes from. And then when you get to Attila and you see a 900 or 890-year-old monastery with a derhar sitting out front and children running all over this beautiful mountainous region, and it's quite impactful. And then when you speak to the kids and you get to hear about their lives and how they don't complain about anything, and they're so happy, and they don't have internet, and they don't have television, and they're just running around as innocent children, but then their lead poisonings are very high in 80% of the children that are running around this region. It really has an emotional impact on you, and you see the beauty of our country, and you see our children and our future hoping to stay in this country and staying in this region. And those are the reasons that I felt it's so important to stick with this project. And when you look over and see contaminated areas, it really speaks to your soul as an Armenian. And anything you can do, and from a fundraising perspective, obviously, no amount of money is a small amount, but this is probably one of our smaller projects that we've done with Armenia Fund.
Unfortunately, during the many years ago, a lot of the toxic waste had built up right underneath in the area surrounding Attila, and the fact that we're able to clean it up in collaboration with Pure Earth is extremely exciting, and it's great, and I can't wait for this project to get started.
I can imagine that it has to be extremely fulfilling to be able to affect and impact so many people's lives by this project with the collaboration of Armenia Fund and Pure Earth. So it has to be extremely fulfilling, I'm sure.
It is fulfilling for me personally. Obviously, I don't feel that we're doing this for our own personal satisfaction. At least speaking for myself, I'm doing this for the people of Armenia and the children of Armenia specifically. And when you see the high levels of lead poisoning in these children, and in speaking with Rich, the founder of Pure Earth, and gaining a better understanding of how to reduce the lead poisoning that exists right now in an immediate fashion, means a lot for the people of that region, for the people of Attila, and for Armenia population as a whole.
Հայաստան համահայկական հիմնադրամի Արևելյան շրջանի գործադիր տնօրեն Լիսա Ստեփանյանը իր խոսքով մասնավորապես ասաց.
It gives me a great pleasure to extend my warm welcome to all of you here on behalf of Armenia Fund board members, and to say how grateful we are for your continued support. This year, Armenia Fund USA, or Armenia Fund all over the globe, is celebrating their 25th anniversary. So here we are tonight, celebrating and also supporting a great cause, which you will learn more about in a little while.
It all started almost a year and a half ago, when Diana Mkhitaryan hosted an event at her house to bring an awareness of this beautiful and very important cause that was initiated by Pure Earth organization. At that time, I was not working for Armenia Fund yet, and in my mind I said, wow, once it will be a great idea to have this collaborate with an Armenian organization. And the opportunity came when I was appointed director of Armenia Fund USA Eastern Region. So it was my time to initiate this partnership. And that's how we collaborated with Pure Earth. And we almost have all the funds ready. Today, actually, it's kind of celebrating and at the same time of, spread again awareness, because it doesn't end with Aktala. There are other regions. There are actually 22 other regions in Armenia that have the same issue and need our help.
I was just telling Mr. Fuller as well, it has to be so fulfilling to know that you and the organization and Pure Earth is making such a difference, especially in the lives of the children in these regions.
Correct. When I was there in person last May visiting Aktala, and you see these kids playing with that soil, and they have no idea that it's contaminated. It just your heart bleeds. And hopefully, all the works are almost getting ready to start. I believe mid-May, and it should be completed in September. And once the results and the testing are done with the kids in that village, we will do the comparison before and after. And I can't wait the time and the day where we need to share with our community. Thank you everyone for their continued support and believing in this remarkable project.
Իր խոսքի վերջում Լիսա Ստեփանյանը շնորհակալություն հայտնեց հանձնախմբին իրենց գործունեության համար եւ պարգեւատրեց շնորհակալագրով Դիանա Մխիթարյանին, որն այս մտահղացման հեղինակներից էր.
Diana, can you tell our viewers a little bit about your involvement in Pure Earth and how the project came together?
I was invited, boarding school classmate of mine from years ago, and when Rich and Charlotte convinced me into joining Pure Earth, and I thought what they were doing was fantastic because they were helping clean up all the contaminated areas. And then when they talked about Armenia and all the different sites that they had identified that were contaminated, a chord struck in my heart, and I wanted to get involved. And so I opened my home. We did a toxic cocktail where Lisa came, Stepanyan, and then then the ball started rolling, and here we are today.
How many times have you been there so far?
To Aktala,
Yeah.
I've been there twice.
And what have your experiences been?
It's a beautiful place. We go to Armenia every summer, and I love all the churches. But I went specifically to Aktala to see last summer. And lead contamination is something that you don't actually see. It's in the ground and it's dust. And so the kids, when they're playing in the churchyard, which is always used, they get the dust in their mouths and everything. And Pure Earth has already done lead blood levels, and they're through the roof, very high. So with this, we'll be able to remediate, clean up, and so hopefully everything will go back to normal and children will be able to live normal lives.
It must make you feel so special knowing that you're making such a difference as an organization and as a person and affecting so many people's lives, especially the young generation in Armenia and our kids in Armenia.
I'm happy that I'm able to do a little something just to make a difference.
Այնուհետև հանդիսավարը ներկայացրեց Pure Earth կազմակերպության հիմնադիր նախագահ Ռիչարդ Փոլարին.
Just to put this in perspective, we work all around the world. We're in 40 countries, doing projects all over the place. That we're cleaning up places that are acutely toxic. One of the ways to think about this is to try and put it in the perspective of pollution broadly. And we're doing a report right now that will be published in June in The Lancet, which is a UK publication, that looks at how bad pollution is globally. Not just soil pollution like this, but also air pollution and water pollution. It turns out that the number of deaths from pollution is actually about the biggest cause of death there is on the planet. It's much bigger than malaria or HIV or any of the things that we've been concerned about for a long time. And we haven't done much about this problem over the last couple of decades. It seems that in the West, when we dealt with pollution back in the 60s and 70s, we kind of stopped. and we let the poorer countries develop, industrialize, grow, and we never thought that they also might end up poisoning their own communities. And that's what's happening now. 92% of the deaths, 9 million deaths a year, occur in low and middle income countries. And they're occurring in places like Artala, multiplied by the hundreds and the thousands. So Pure Earth works on pollution problems, specifically on pollution of soil and contaminated sites. And we've been working in Armenia for a couple of years, looking at places that are really acutely toxic, where children are going to be poisoned from being contaminated. And we found about 25 sites that are really bad. But one of them that really is disturbing is in Aktala. And this gorgeous 13th century church, in fact, has a huge amount of lead all throughout its surroundings. And lead is a neurotoxin, and even small amounts in small children causes brain damage and intellectual impairment. So there's more than 100 times the recommended level of lead in the soils around this church. And we owe it to the children around this place to clean it up. So the Armenia Fund has been superb. They've come forward with the finance to do this work. We're bringing in all of the technical experts to go and clean this up and make this a safe place for the kids around the church to be able to live and play.
And what other countries are you currently in?
We do work in 50 countries. So we're doing work in India and Indonesia and China and Philippines and Senegal and you name it. We're really very active in doing projects just like this all around the world.
And I know that you recently collaborated with the Armenia Fund in the works of Pure Earth in Armenia. How long ago did that start happening?
We have a wonderful supporter on our board, Diana Mkhitaryan, and she has brought this whole community here into play to help us with this particular work. And she's been working with us now for more than 2 years. So she's been just an extraordinary supporter and has made sure that her country is benefiting from the kind of work that we're doing. It's great.
It's people like her that we need, and to raise awareness for our kids in Armenia who are being affected by the toxins in the earth. And I'd like to thank you. Is there any closing words you'd like to tell our viewers?
Well, I want to thank you all. I want to thank the people who've supported this work, but also this extraordinary amount of awareness that's going on within the country about this particular part of pollution. And, it's not something you can see, but its impact lasts for generation after generation. And just to see such a really wonderful response from all the country government agencies and the community people to deal with this, it's not just unusual, it's heartwarming.
And I can't even imagine the fulfillment that you feel, your self-fulfillment, when you see that you've made such a difference, especially amongst the kids and the younger generation, and to see their lives so impacted by the work that you do. That's extremely fulfilling, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. These kids who, would be losing 10 or 15 or 20 IQ points, have all these developmental disabilities, end up being more violent, just to avoid that for their futures and for the futures of all the generations moving forward. It's good work.
Thank you again on behalf of the Artsakand Armenian Television for all your work and efforts.
Երեկոն իրենց գեղեցիկ երգարվեստով հարստացրեցին Ուայ Ուայ քույրեր տրիոն։
I'm here with the very talented YY sisters who performed amazingly tonight. Guys, thank you so much for being on our show. We're here with Lucy, Dativ, and Kate. Tell us a little bit about how YY sisters came together.
Well, YY Sisters originated when we moved to the States in 2001. It started with Sona, Dativ, and I, which are my biological sisters, and then we had the addition of Kate.
Kate, tell our viewers a little bit about what you told us earlier about what it was like joining the YY sisters.
Sure. I met Lucy and Dativ at school at William Patterson University, and it was very clear once I got to know them that they were very passionate people and their family were passionate people, and I met their Armenian friends and they were passionate people, and it just was very easy to make music with them because of this passion, and I joined and we sang together all the time, and that's history.
And Dativ, tell our viewers what you told us about how the music, how you come about singing Armenian folk music.
Yeah, a lot of it is melodies only. We do not even have an idea what century it came from. If we didn't have someone like Saad Nova, or most importantly Komitas, these songs would most likely would have just vanished in thin air. And so for me, as the arranger for most of the pieces of the group, it's quite curious to interpret and put my own sounds, put my own interpretation into these melodies, and it's quite great. Then later on, since we are all professional musicians, later on Kate started writing arrangements for the pieces, and so now I feel more blessed in this sense, because now I don't have to write all of the arrangements, and now we have a different color added to our repertoire and added to our style, you know. So yeah, a lot of it is just melodies that I have the freedom to interpret as I wish to. And as a jazz musician, it helps immensely that I have that knowledge and that feel in my bones too. So I think the music comes out to be a union of Armenian jazz and classical music that hopefully preserves the Armenianness and the purity of it.
Thank you. And Lucine, what are some of the future plans for the YY Sisters?
Well, we actually have our second album coming out in about 2 months, which is again produced under Narek Atsi, which has been of the utmost help with us since immigrating to the States. And I hope through it, as I say, to me being Armenian is knowing our culture, and I want to preserve our music because it's slowly being forgotten, and I want to make sure we remember these songs.
It's very refreshing to see such young kids I call you guys, but young adults singing our beautiful Armenian folk music and keeping it alive within the younger generation. And someday teaching it to your children. So thank you so much. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Այնուհետև հնչեց հայկական ուրախ երաժշտություն եւ ներկաները մինչեւ ուշ գիշեր զվարճացան։ Դե ինչ, պետք է ասել, որ Հայաստան համահայկական հիմնադրամը իրագործեց եւս մեկ կարևոր եւ ազգօգուտ գործունեություն ի նպաստ Հայաստանի եւ հատկապես մեր մանուկների բարօրության համար։ Հաջողություն ձեզ։